Hello, my name is Dan Pergopile, and I'm a seminarian for the Diocese of La Crosse in Wisconsin. And I am here to show you how to make a knotted rosary, which is what you see right on the screen right now, as the finished product. So what you need is about 16 feet of twine, which basically I got through Twine by Design, or there's several other companies that you can search online, but I like their, I guess, styles of different colors and things like that. So basically, what you do is we will start with one end of the rope, and what you want is about 8 inches from the end to where you're going to make your first knot. And basically, I already have one knot made there, but I'll show you how to make the second. And then this is where you're starting your first decade. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the rope in your left, take the end here in your left hand, and you place it over your pointer finger on your left hand, because that's what you're going to use to make the knot. You're going to wrap the rope around your finger. So basically with it coming off diagonally sort of across your finger, you're going to wrap it around the back side of your finger, over your fingernail, like this. And then you're going to wrap it around and crisscross it so that it crosses over that first wrap. And then you're going to wrap it 3 times so that on this side of your finger, you're going to have 3 of the ropes wrapped around. So then what you're going to do is grab, or put your finger on the back side of your finger over your fingernail, and you're going to slide this all off your finger and turn that inside out. So what you're doing is pushing through this part of the rope that you're going to try to pull through. And what you're doing is pulling through the long part. So then you're basically going to pull that through. And once you have the entire rope all the way through, all 15 feet or so left, then you're going to have that part of the knot that you have to tighten up. And this is sort of the tricky part, because as you tighten it up, you want to make sure that all of those, all of the parts of the rope stay in their place, because if the middle part crosses over, your knot kind of gets all messed up. And then the tricky part as well is just getting your spacing correct. So usually what I do is back up the knot almost to where it's tight up against the other knot, and then when you pull it tight, it spaces it out a bit. So you want to get your spacing right, otherwise you'll end up with either a massive rosary, or your knots will just be so close together that it's hard to really get your finger on it. So that's how to make the basic knot. Now we'll come back, and with one decade complete, I'll show you how to make the Our Father bead. Okay, so now we're back. We have our decade made here. And then basically right after this, we're going to make our Father bead. So it's basically the same as all of the knots that we've already made. So you're still going to place the rope across your finger like this, sort of diagonally. You're going to wrap it around the back. But then this time, because it's an Our Father bead, some people might just space it out and make it the same as your normal. But I guess I prefer to make it slightly bigger, just so that it's more noticeable. You still have it spaced out, but I guess that's my preference and look. But then basically you're going to wrap it around, crisscross it again, but then this time you'll wrap it 4 times. So then you're going to have 4 wrappings on the inside of your finger. Then basically you're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay your finger over the back here, and you're going to try to slide that off, keeping all of the ropes in order, and then you're going to sort of turn that inside out again and pull through that the long part of the rope again. And then once you pull that through, then you're going to try to keep all of those ropes in order as you sort of pull this together. And then once you should see like it kind of takes shape, and know what that should look like after a while. Then basically I'm just going to space it out, and basically as if I'm leaving one knot as a gap, and so that you could have a, so that it looks like you could have a knot there, but it's sort of missing. So that way then my next knot will be about right here. So then that's the Our Father bead, and that's what that sort of looks like. And then now you're ready to go do your next decade. So you're basically, this is your first decade, and then you're going to do 4 more decades after this, and then we'll connect it together and show you what that looks like. Okay, so here we go. We have all 10 decades done here, starting from the short end here. There's the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So then basically what we're going to do is take the 2 ends, the short end here and the long end in my right hand, and we're going to put them together, and now you're going to be making the connecting knot that connects the entire rosary together, so that you can make the, I guess, sort of stem of the rosary. So basically what you're going to do, this is the tough one, you're going to take both ends of the twine, and basically you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to wrap both of the ropes around, and you're going to crisscross it just like making a normal knot. But you're only going to wrap twice, because since you have two ropes, it's going to get really big really quickly. So then you're going to end up having 4, 2 of each of the knots. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pull it off your fingertip like this, turn it inside out, and then the tough thing is pulling through both parts of the rope here. So then you want both of them coming through. And I see I messed this up, so I'll redo it. Okay, so here we are. We have all 10 decades, starting with the Okay, so here we go. We have all 5 decades, starting with the short end here. Going, there's the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth decade. Of course, you're ending so that you have 10 Hail Mary beads on both sides. So what you're going to do is take the short end in your left hand, the long end in your right hand. You're going to put them together, and you're going to bring them over your left hand, just like we're making all the Hail Mary beads. What you want to do is line up these 2 beads here, and then place that over your finger. So what we're going to do is going to wrap it around our fingernail with both ropes, and you're going to crisscross, just like you do with the Hail Mary beads. But you're just going to wrap around twice, because otherwise your knot gets ridiculously huge quite quickly. So once you have it wrapped around, so then you should have 4 ropes on this side, 2 from each of the strings. Then you're going to pull that off with your finger here, and you're going to turn that inside out and pull through both of the ropes, since that's what we're making the knot with. So there's the long one, and then the challenge is getting the short one here. So there we go. And then by keeping all 4 of those in line, you're going to pull that knot tight. And usually I do the same gap sort of with the Our Father, is that you leave enough for 1 knot. And then you're basically going to pull that really tight, and then there you go. That's your knot holding that part of the rosary together. Basically then from there you leave the short end hanging off, and then that'll just be cut and melted with a lighter, and we'll do that a little bit later. But then from here you're going to make the Our Father bead, and then you have 3 Hail Mary beads, and then another Our Father, and then the cross. So basically from here, that's what you're making, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we are. We have the rosary basically connected together here with the knot that we just did. And then what I continued to do was the Our Father bead, the 3 Hail Marys, another Our Father, and then this is the beginning of the cross, which is not necessarily as difficult as making the knot to connect it together, but just the concept is a little bit confusing. So basically what you're doing is, here's your Our Father bead, 3 Hail Marys, another Our Father, and then what you're basically making here is 3 Our Father beads connected together. And then what you're going to end up doing is, you have about, I don't know, I probably have about 2 feet of rope left at the end here, and that's what you're going to use to make the cross beam of the cross. So what you're going to do is, you're going to take your lighter and you're going to burn off the end of this rope. Now what you can also do is cut it with a scissors and then just melt the end, but usually I try to melt the end and then just stick it up against the lighter just to kind of melt the end, because if you don't melt, if you just cut them, then the strings can begin to kind of fray apart, and then it's no fun to work with. So then basically what you're going to do is, this rope that you have left, you're going to find the middle of it on this end, and then you're going to take that and just make 1 loop, just sort of like you're starting to tie a shoe. So you're making just your standard knot, and then you're going to take that and you're going to slip it over the top and tighten that down in between the first and the second Our Father bead that's there. And then the trick is to get this really tight, and then you can adjust your knots so that they kind of fit in there, because at first it's kind of awkward to have a knot kind of stuck in there, and eventually it'll kind of fit in. So you can twist the knots sort of like this to make it fit. Then basically what you're going to do is, you're going to make another Our Father bead on either side. So I'm wrapping it around 4 times, pulling it off, pulling that through, and then the tough part with this, make sure you keep those in line, but is to pull this tight but get it like right up to, so what I usually do is grab the knot here and just pull that out so that it's tightening in, and then sometimes you might have to pull it tight like that, see it moved, and then pull it tight again, and then that's how you get it really tight, so that it won't come loose, because otherwise when you wash it or having it in your pocket, the knots will just eventually kind of tighten themselves. So then we'll take the other side, do the same thing, wrapping 4 times, pull it through, and then try not to get those all tangled up. Sometimes as you tighten it, it'll kind of come back together like that, and then pull that tight, and then there you go, and you can kind of adjust those so that that's kind of how it looks. And then basically from there, you can take a knife or something else and just cut those off. Fingernail clippers I've found actually work pretty well. It's safer, and it actually gets pretty close as well. So you don't want too much left over, otherwise you have a lot to burn. And then you're basically going to do the same thing with this one, so you hold that off to the side. Cut that, and then you take your lighter and just simply melt the end, melt those together, and then just kind of push it in, and then that kind of gives you a nice melted end so that it doesn't fray or come undone. And that's what you're going to do with these as well. And I guess I should mention too that a trick with getting the string the right length is at least when you make your first one, go a little bit long just to make sure that you have enough rope. Otherwise it's a little bit frustrating when you get to the end and then your rope's too short.